So we've all talked about Log4j, but we really haven't made it super personal to the MSP. And so I wanted to actually demonstrate the Log4j where it actually crosses over to MSPs. So if you notice, I'm in a Unifi controller. I imagine a few of us have Unifi controllers for our clients. And if you notice up in the top left, it says network version 6.4.54, which is one of the vulnerable versions to the Log4j attack. I have my IP address at the top. It's a public IP that I have. This is actually a funny story. My old Unifi controller in DigitalOcean, and I realized that it was old and been locked down on an ACL, so I decided I was going to go ahead and use it as a demonstration. So to set this up, I want to go ahead and show the two windows that are necessary. I'm using a public repo that someone made to do this. And so I have basically two things to do. Down on the bottom is going to be my Netcat Listener. I guess I'm going to type it real quick. NC-LVNP 4444. So there's my Netcat Listener. It's going to be receiving the response back from the Unifi controller. And this is my payload. So I'm running a Docker instance. I'm going to run log4j Unifi. And I'm going to pass through a couple of ports that I need for that. And then I'm going to name my Docker instance. And I'm going to tell the variables and parameters that are needed for the attack, right? So -u is my Unifi controller. So 165.232.137.160. -i is my attack box that I want this box to reply back to. And -p is my port for that attack. So what we're going to see in the top window is going to be the actual payload executed. I'm going to go ahead and run that right now. And what we're going to see on the bottom window should be a connection from that Unifi's Log4j instance that's writing that log, that does the Jindy command, gets the referral, and then forwards it on. So if you notice down on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and stabilize my shell. And if you see it says Unifi at Ubuntu-S1 vCPU. And if I type in who am I, you'll find that I am Unifi. And so what I want to also demonstrate, and I'm going to Control-C out of this, is the reason we talk about vulnerability management. Why does it matter? And the reason it matters is that we have to stay up to date so that when these vulnerabilities happen, we already have a cadence to update. So I'm going to go ahead and say apt-get apt update, and we'll go ahead and update all our distros. And I'm going to update this and then show that that same attack is no longer viable. Right, so we'll go ahead and pause while this finishes updating. I'm going to do a dist upgrade as well. So we'll do apt dist upgrade so that I can update the Unifi controller. It should give me the, are you sure? Should also say, hey, when you're doing Unifi, you have to be careful about the update. But rather than do it in the UI, I'm just showing that you could either, Dom and I were discussing this earlier, you could either do a, cron job to run an auto update on this at midnight. You could structure this with an agent that keeps it up to date, but the Unifi is actually a public distro, and so it is updated. As soon as they find a patch for it, they can update it. And if you're looking at those patches on a cadence, you're not running around going, oh my God, did I get my Unifi controllers update for this problem or for that problem? Rather, you're just doing it on a constant basis. So I'm going to finish the update, and then we'll go back and redemonstrate the fact that I cannot do this in the future after I've patched it. So we'll go ahead and pause recording. Okay, welcome back. So we're done with our dist update, and Unifi is now up to date. And so how you can tell is actually by just going to the window, and we're now on 6.5.5.5, which is a non-vulnerable version of this. So let's go back and attack again, right? So we're set back up over here. We have our Netcat Listener listening in the victim on the receiving side. And we're going to go ahead and run our same Docker command. Everything's the same. The difference should be we should not get a response down on the bottom window this time. It should just terminate and say it termed out and it was not able to run it. So let's see. Here we sit, waiting for histrionics. Exactly. So we don't have a shell. So this is the reason we update, right? Like this is why we do this. It's very simple. It should be cadenced, and part of our world is that once a vulnerability is discovered, it's not very long before it starts getting attacked. And the job would be to have a way to say very defensively that you have a process for updating things in a normal basis, even if they aren't perfect 10s every time. So this has been my demonstration of why you should patch and what happens when you attack the Unifi controller with the Log4Shell vulnerability. So thank you for watching. Appreciate you.